It's your boy Ken White, host of the Southside Unicorn Show. Today is a very interesting day, a very significant day in the history of mankind. When the astronauts landed on the moon, they said it was one step for man, one giant step for mankind. That can be true of anything of great significance in this world. If you don't already know, let me put you on tip. Let me bring you up to speed. The United States and Israel have begun attacks on the nation of Iran. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a shot at the moon. That is very serious stuff. That's world changing stuff. And so today we are honored to have Hoori KHANDANI with us. She is an Iranian American. She is a patriot. She is a veteran of the United States Army. We have people assembled with us today that are showing their solidarity and support of what is going on in Iran. But before we begin, let's figure out how this began. This began, unfortunately, on the 11th of February, 1979, when the Shah of Iran was assassinated. When that man's life was taken, it ended a 2,500-year reign of a royal family, and it was replaced by the Khomeini Ayatollah. And it ushered in a time that absolutely changed a burgeoning, incredible community, a cosmopolitan community. Because if I have it right, and I'm sure when we bring Hoori on, she will edify me. I heard that Iran used to be the spot. That was the place where people went and enjoyed themselves on the beautiful beaches, so forth and so on. And so we have now seen the attempt to remove a reign of terror that started with the bloody murder of the Shah of Iran in 1979, which has lasted almost 40 years. Hoori, saw you on your page last night, and you seem to be overcome with emotions. Can you get us started in this conversation? Because it's going to be very organic. It's not structured. We're just going to talk about this.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on the show. It's as a total honor. Even though it was last minute, you and I spoke last night. I'm like, sure, maybe that was not the best choice. You got me in a vulnerable moment. I'm like, sure, why not? But I actually just came back from what was supposed to be a rally already scheduled today in San Diego. In fact, there were crowds coming from Orange County, California to San Diego, and another crowd in LA in front of the Chinese and also the British embassies in LA. And that was already scheduled for today. And then it turned to be a celebration. I'm getting goosebumps. I'm sorry if I lose it a little bit right now today, too. It hasn't been 24 hours. I only got 3 hours of sleep last night. So, just coming back from the rally today, I remember I was just standing and outside the crowd, and then this gentleman was looking at me, and just so emotions were still very raw. And yes, we're celebrating. When I went to the rally, the large rally that was called on the 14th of the last month, I guess now last month, or no, still the same month, February, called by the Crown Prince. You could see like there was just like eerie feeling. Nobody was smiling. We're all like very fired up and passionate about what was going on. Obviously, a lot of grief from all the murders in my country, especially for someone like myself whose hands are tied. I can't go back. I can't do anything. That was the least we could do. I actually rode my motorcycle all the way from San Diego to LA to participate. But I remember it was that thing that you could see that nobody would
Mm-hmm.
smile. Nobody would, even despite the energy being
Are
so
you talking
high.
about today? Are you
This
talking
was
about?
like 2 weeks ago on the 14th, or yes. But then
Okay.
today there was this like, oh my gosh, like overjoy from people and us that, but at the same time, to answer your question, there was this like sense of disbelief. Like I was literally standing, this guy was like, I still can't believe it. And there were like people like crying and in joy. And I was like, I thought it was only me because I'm still to this day, and I'm just sitting here. And now here I am,
Mm-hmm.
someone who hasn't been able to go back for 20 years.
Well, I
There
want
were,
I want to ask you a question. So we're going to pace it out. Take your time
yeah,
because you got
sorry.
plenty of time. I'm glad you're on this show. You're saying that there are people who are in disbelief. What are they in disbelief about, Hui?
This regime had a reign of just to correct it, it was 47 as of this last month. It was 47 celebration. I'm sure you saw the regime try to highlight that so much, but 47 years and all the crackdowns that, like you mentioned, Obama failed to address, and Biden turned his eyes, turned it back on. It was just because of all the despair, all the helplessness, and anytime the people started rising up, they were like shut down and murdered, and and hung and executed. So there was this
So
like,
so
is this
you're
even real? Like, because
so
this
you're
guy
dis
has
you're
lasted for so long.
right. So your disbelief is that something or someone or event has actually addressed the suffering of the Iranian people. Am I getting that right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. You know
Evie,
how you hear in grief,
uh,
they say there's a denial phase in the beginning? That's exactly
wow,
how it felt. It's like, is it even real?
wow. Evie, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I totally understand where she's coming from, because not everybody knows, but I was born in Nigeria, and when the Christians were being slaughtered in Nigeria, I it it really blew my mind. Even though I consider myself 100% a United States citizen, um, I still have some very distant relatives still in Nigeria, and they are Christians, and my heart was broken, and so I understand that disbelief. And only one president had the
You're looking
the
for the
strength.
word, huh? You're looking. We won't use the
Right,
word cojones. Let's go with the word Larry Elder uses. Larry Elder uses the word cashews. Had the cashews?
right.
Would that work?
Yes, to do something about it. The rest of the world stood silent. And I so thank President Trump for being God's hand in making sure that people who are doing these atrocious things are have to pay for them. And thank you for just doing the right thing. You know, we talk about it all the time. There are protesters talking about, oh, we have to do the right thing by certain people. But when you have blatant murder and death right in front of you and you're silent about it, I think that you don't have a right to protest any other person's situation if you
Wow.
don't do
That
about it.
reminds me of the late great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It is interesting that in this nation, certain citizens have certain opinions on one thing. Oh, it's the end of the world. The sky is falling if you do something to a particular group, but they're tone deaf or are blind when it happens to someone else. So the late great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." Lita, thank you for coming on. This is my mic wife, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who don't see her all the time, but that's my girl up there. Lita, what do you think? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think it's a phenomenal thing that's happening right now all across the world. Um, I've always been interested in what's going on in other countries. In the line of work that I'm in, I do have the pleasure of meeting people that have been to those places. Kenny knows that I work, in my career, I work a lot with military people. And I guess to me, as an American citizen who's basically lived in comfort most of my life, even though, some of it might have been a little closer to poverty at times, but I I I guess I find it amazing that anybody can turn a blind eye to exactly what Dr. King said about suffering anywhere and everywhere. And of course, I think we're all very touched that all of this is tied together. It's not just a thing that exists by itself, it's just evil in cultural different forms all across this world. And to see things happening that's bringing that to light, it does bring tears to my eyes because I know the friends that I've had that come from Iran didn't even want to call themselves Iranian. They called themselves Persian.
See, Hoori is
And
down there. Let me get that in there. Hoori, I see you shaking your head in absolute agreement. What does she mean about this Persian Iranian thing? Are they denouncing their Iranian heritage?
No. So the reason behind that is because if you say I'm Iranian, you're legitimizing the Iran as a regime, as a nation, because Iranian is a nationality, right? So we go by Persian because that goes back to our ancestry and an ethnicity. So Iranians who've come here, who fled the Islamic regime's, yoke, they refer them to themselves. And plus, it doesn't have a good sentiment, or what is it called? It doesn't have a good
Yeah.
reputation, let's say, right? To say, oh, I'm from Iran, and they associate
So
things with everything about the regime, and we want to separate
right,
ourselves.
because you guys, when you look back through the actual Indonology of or history of the Iranian people, you're like an Indo-Aryan type culture, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. And the European, correct?
The
Aryans
European,
were,
right?
which Iran means Aryan, so that's not a
Exactly.
wrong term, but because the
Hmm.
regime took it over, basically hijacked it, we're like, no, 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 we're not with that nation. So it's a way of defying the nation of Islamic Republic as a nation.
Right. And for those of you who don't know, and thank you, Huri, for backing me up on that. When I said Aryan, don't let your hair stand on the back of your head. It's not a bad word. Uh, it's an actual true word, and that's where the Iranian people hail from, is an Aryan uh, culture. But it's interesting when we see this thing that Lita was speaking on, which is they don't even want to refer to themselves as Iranian. That's sort of like the struggles of my people, and I would say Evie's people as well, because we hail from almost the same culture, and we ran into this issue about blackness. Some people were like, we don't want to be called Negroes anymore. We don't want to be African Americans. All these things. Um, in this struggle for identity in Iran, what do you see a skirmish happening, Huri? When because all Trump and Bibi, I call him Bibi Netanyahu, I believe that all they've done is cracked open the eggs. When this thing gets mixed up, how do you see it dividing in Iran? What what factions are going to happen here? What do you think?
As far as the terminology or in general?
No, as far as now, as President Trump said very well last night, we got you guys started. This
Mhm.
is your fight, and you're going
Mhm.
to have to take your country back. What do you see happening? Is this
I
going to be
was
a
just
100-day war, or is this going to be a
No, no. So again, we need to silence the noise of the fake news, right? And then
mhm.
and I'll go back hopefully if I have an opportunity to explain to you what
You
happened
got
because you
all the
asked.
time in the world.
Right. You asked about the intro of how even the 1979 happened, even though I wasn't born there, but I've studied politics and I've, worked enough to know. So, but I was listening to Patrick B. David, and he was saying that actually, unlike what you hear on the news, it's actually 80% of Iranian were anti-regime. The
Wow.
population inside Iran. Yeah. And we have like a 90 million population. So, and the rest of them, to be
Wait,
honest,
slow down, take a breath. You have a what population?
of 92 million people in Iran.
92 million?
Yes.
I
That's the
saw that, EB.
population
You
of
gotta
Iran.
you gotta unmute yourself and get in on this. 92 million is no joke. You're saying the bad media and all of that. I want to bring EB in on that real quick. What are you all hearing, Lita, EB? Uh, is the information in our media system lining up with what Hoori is telling us?
Well, I see a contradiction because it depends on which outlet you're viewing at the time. So certain outlets show the actual Persian people dancing in the streets in celebration because they are happy that they're being liberated, that finally somebody is doing something about the atrocities that's happening in their country. And other um, news outlets, we'll call them that for now, have, I believe, an agenda because they show unsupported information. There's a rhetoric about how all of it centers around Trump and how he's so evil, how he's trying to take over another country, and so forth. And I think we really have to look at what the people from that country are saying and kind of push out the rest of the noise.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So we're coming up to a hard break. I'm hoping I can keep the three of you for just a little bit longer. As we go into the break, I want to talk about one of the concerns that it seems, the detractors of President Trump and Bibi Netanyahu have, which is one, he didn't get the permission of Congress. Two, he's going to create a void in Iran that's going to bring somebody even worse than the Ayatollah that we just got rid of. But I believe there's people waiting in the wings who are ready to take over leadership. And when we come back, we're going to ask Hoori about that possibility of someone that has a blood right to return to Iran and be the leader. So when we come back, we're going to talk about this void and what the Democrat Party is saying could make things worse. We'll be right back after these messages. Go nowhere.
When I see a new broadcast from the Southside Unicorn, I can't wait to listen to it. You just never know what he's going to say.
Step 1, train the people only to consume. Step 2, infiltrate adults with the news. Step 3, indoctrinate the children through the schools and the music and the apps on the phones that they use. Step 4, separate the right from the left. Step 5, separate the white from the black. Step 6, separate the rich from the poor. Use religion and equality to separate them more. Step 7, fabricate a problem, made a lie. Step 8, put it on the news every night. Step 9, when people start to fight and divide, take control. This is called situational design.
You are listening to the Southside Unicorn Show, hosted by my friend, Ken White. He'll be back after these messages.
Hey, it's your boy Ken White, host of the Southside Unicorn Show. And today we have a guest, Hoori KHANDANI, a return guest, E.B. Lynch, and my mic wife, Lita Amick. We're discussing the matter of Iran and some of the things that are going on over there right now. If you don't know already, turn on your TV. If you don't turn on your TV, I'll tell you. America and Israel have launched a full-scale attack on Iran. It's time to break the back of the beast. But at the same time, everyone, and some detractors here in our own nation, are saying that this is only going to make matters worse. He didn't get permission for it, and somebody totally worse is going to come in and fill the void. Well, I think I want to ask Hoori what she thinks about that. Hoori, do you think it's going to be a worse, for example, I don't even want to hear the name Khomeini anymore. I think I'm kind of over that. So, what do you think about succession, or what do you think is going to happen when this war reaches installment stage?
One of the frameworks that they're portraying that sentiment that you just mentioned is that, oh, another Iraq, Iran, another Afghanistan. Iran is not Afghanistan. Iran is not Iraq. Culture different. It's just like the whole dynamic is very different. And maybe I'm biased, but the people, the Persian culture, the mindset, even the level of education, level of just lifestyle is very different. Again, this was not something that actually they chose. It was something that was actually imposed upon them. So this is an occupied regime, and that's what I want to also say. I know you said we have attacked, but it's not a war. This is a rescue mission. This is something that nowhere in the world, nowhere in the history, never in history have you ever seen a nation celebrating, like our friend AB was saying, that they're celebrating for another foreign country to come and attack their government. Nowhere have you seen that. And that
I want to point right there. Let me jump in here. Let me get some of this with you. You brought up an interesting point. Lita, didn't the people of Venezuela, didn't they celebrate too when we took out Maduro? What is his name?
Yeah, Maduro. Yes, they did. And today, on all those links that were on Facebook and Getter and X, I was reading comments. And one of the comments was, "Oh, great, another war." And I don't respond to all of them, but I did respond to that one. And I said, "This isn't a war, this is a takedown. When it's a takedown, you go to the top, you take them down." I go, "It's not a protracted war."
Okay, so now, Hoori, you said that about 2 weeks ago you were at a rally and you mentioned a name that stuck in my ear. So I want you to say it to the people again. Were you with the son of the Shah of Iran?
And his daughter actually showed up to the rally because he was actually doing the Munich rally at that time when
Okay.
Senator Graham was also there. That was a huge announcement there, and he had this whole referendum, I guess, spelled out. But what I want to clarify, thank you, Lydia, but Lydia, is it Lydia? Sorry.
Lita.
Yeah.
um, is that the contrast with that is the web of power that the Ayatollahs had established. The IRGC, there's nothing like it in the world. When they actually run the market, they run the military, they run everything in that country. Like the way it was established is not, it wasn't a simple thing of taking out Maduro. Hence why it took longer, much calculated effort for the U.S. military and U.S. government and also Israel to plan this out. So that's the contrast. That's what I'm saying. Yes, of course, the Venezuelans were celebrating, but again, the dynamic is very different in a sense of this government has for so long, and also in case of Maduro, it's been only 24 years of communism there. It's more of a system. So this is like a more ideological thing. It's very much more rooted in the culture in the country of Iran, and hence why the effect of it, and the gravity of it.
Wow. And I
I,
want to
you
switch. I
know,
want to switch up. Oh, go ahead, Lita. Go ahead.
actually, I want to ask Hurry?
Hoori,
Yes.
like hooray!
We're
Hooray.
doing so good.
A hoodie on blowfish.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Like to be in the
There you
blowfish.
go.
Well, my question, and I do know that I have met a lot of highly educated people from Iran. So my question to you is, do you feel that the focus was on Iran because the culture was so progressive? Well, I don't like that word either anymore, but
Westernized.
it was so elevated, and you think that's why
Cosmopolitan.
they focused on
Secular, that's
Iran.
right.
Okay, that was just
Right.
curious about
So
that.
when you said a focus back in 1979, are we
Right.
talking? Absolutely.
1979, they had to take out a superpower, basically.
There was a lot of competition. Iran, like Ken was saying earlier, it was a center of everything. It was
Hmm.
but I'm gonna
Was
give
the
you guys a
spot.
little secret. Yes, I'm gonna give you again. That's my take, and I've been saying it for so long, and it happened to come to the truth. But 5 people in the world, and I'm gonna mention their name, that had one thing in common. That was Gaddafi, Saddam Hussein, RFK, and the Shah of Iran. Did I say 5? And then Trump, of
Four.
course.
Yeah.
Trump.
Okay.
There's
That's
5,
five.
right? They
Hmm.
had one thing in common, and
What
that's
is
what
that?
caused them all to get killed. And I was
Well,
saying
no,
it
no, no, no.
for
Stop, stop,
years.
stop, 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 Hoori.
Assassinated. I'm sorry, assassinated.
No, no,
Correct.
no, no. Stop, stop, stop. President Donald J. Trump is still with us. Thank the Lord.
Right. So I was going to say, and I
And
used to always say that. I'm saying, how could Trump survive this? And then
Uh,
he got attempted on, right? And what
mm.
is that one thing they have in common, though? So I want to kind of broaden
Wait,
your
wait, wait, wait,
perspective
wait.
on
Hold up,
that.
hold up, hold up. Hold up. Let's slow the pace down a little bit. Doom, 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 doo, doo, doom, doom, doom. What is that one thing that they have in common?
They were all asking for going against making gold as a national currency, not a dollar backed currency, but a gold currency. And on top of it, the Shah had the audacity to even want to get out of the OPEC and nationalize the oil. And that kind of caused
Oh,
him this. So he turned against the globalist
so you
agendas.
you kind of touching on that Bilderberg, Rothschild type of stuff. I don't want to go all the way off into there, but
A
so
rabbit
you saying
hole.
right? That's a rabbit hole,
I
big
like
one
that
too.
topic.
I bet you do, leader. So leader. I'm gonna let you touch. Watch this. Take your plane over the surface of that. Stay at 40,000 feet. But what is she talking about? What is this thing that they all have in common? They were trying to get away from money. Is that what I understand?
No, they're trying to get away from false money and control of a banking system that controls wars or creates wars to make money and to make it so that, in my opinion, that their citizens of their country can actually thrive instead of be taxed to death to support a war to make someone else wealthy.
Correct.
Wow. And you know
100%.
what? I have to say this much. the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, he touched on that briefly when he excoriated Barack Obama for allowing the murder of Gaddafi. Uh, I am a Pentecostal Christian, so when I say Honorable Louis Farrakhan, that's truly out of respect to him. He said that Gaddafi was trying to liberate his people and uplift them. So, Hoori, am I to understand that the Shah of Iran met the same fate? A visionary, a person who had
Absolutely.
the people's best interests at heart, and so they took him out for it?
Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to add a little bit more secret to this. If you look at the pattern, who caused the hostage taking? It was the students of the Tehran University. They use the same exact propaganda tactics that we have heard for the last, almost 10 years or 11 years against Trump, against the Shah, that he's spending all this money because
Wow. Okay,
he
you're
wanted to
making my head
upgrade the
bust.
people, right? They literally
Uh-huh.
were questioning, oh, he's having all those huge ceremonies. You know how they're fighting against this ballroom that Trump is making? Literally, that was the base of the propaganda of telling us. I
Wow.
mean, my parents told me stories about, flying into Europe when dollar was compared to Iranian
Oh,
money was like
yeah.
only 7, and now
Mm-hmm.
it's 150 million. Compare the Shah's time comparison of currency to seven
Wait, wait,
Iranian
wait, wait,
money.
wait. You're going so fast that I'm not. I gotta digest this for a minute. I'm gonna pump the brakes. Let me control the speed a little bit here. Ebi, when you served our country, were you in the Middle East? Did you serve in the Middle East?
Yes, I did go to the Middle East for a few missions. Um, and it was interesting because when I remember early on when I went in, um, I think because of my features not looking very traditional American, um, I was actually looked upon by some of the people that were there, and they looked like they were ready to do something to me because at the time women could not be uncovered at all, and I think
That's right.
like ankles were showing, and but luckily I was with and don't take this the wrong way, anybody listening, but luckily I was with two white guys who were also in the military, and they looked military. So I think they kind of backed off.
So you
Even
saying you saying for a minute there they was about to come at you because you didn't
though,
have on the hijab, you wasn't walking that walk, you didn't have your head down. Wow.
yes, yes. So I appreciate the liberation of the women in Persia because there no one but the Lord God should be able to have that much control over not only people in general, but a whole country where they even fear being having their ankles showing. That to me that just blew my mind. Yeah,
Wait a
and
minute.
I hate.
Here we are over here with Daisy Dukes and halter tops, and you trying to tell me that if your ankles were showing, something would pop off. Look, we're about to run into another break real quick, but I want to get into this because I see three beautiful, powerful women here on the show today. Two of which Lita, you were in the Middle East for a time too. I want to talk about that because you would think that the young Jasmine Crockett would be all about this. You would think that Jasmine Crockett would be like, right on, sister girl, you guys are going to be free. But that's not the case. And I want to talk about that when we come back from the break. I want to talk about what this means for women. A lot of people always look at war as guys and little green soldier man, and we're doing our thing. You know, I'm not trying to make small of a very important matter, but we always think of it in the masculine. I want to talk about the feminine aspects of what is going down when we come back. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back after these messages. Go nowhere.
Guys. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you, Father. Thank you for liberating the Iranian people. Lord, it's coming. It's coming. Now I can truly feel how the children of Israel felt when they were freed from the yoke of Pharaoh. I've been holding these feelings for so long, for the last, all my life. What am I saying? All my life.
Hey, Ken White here, host of the Southside Unicorn Show. If you're enjoying what you're hearing, reading, or seeing, won't you support the show? You can do that in two different ways. You can buy merch or do a straight donation. To buy merch, go to www.thesouthsideunicornshow.com. To make a donation of any denomination, use the Cash App. Our account number is the $ SSUS 44. And thank you very much. Hey, listen to me. There's no place I'd rather be. There's nothing more I'd rather do than being right here doing this show for you.
Yes, sir.
What's your name, boy?
Mayo. Zach Mayo, sir.
How did you slip into this program? I didn't know the Navy was so hard up.
You got an injury there, Mayo? Not exactly, sir.
Hey, this is really wonderful work. Where'd you get this, Mayo?
Subic Base, Philippines, sir.
Ah, you ought to recognize the work. Be proud of them wings. They're the only ones you're gonna leave here with. Mayonnaise.
When I see a new broadcast from the Southside Unicorn, I can't wait to listen to it. You just never know what he's going to say.
Hey, my name is Toot Sweet, and I'm New York City's original artist, singing for the cause of freedom. I've spent the last 10 years of my life documenting history through my music. It's like a recipe that's blessing me, bringing out the best of me, aggressively testing me to create my own destiny and understanding, universally accepting adversity and learn more lessons in life than you're learning any. And when I'm in need of a dose of reality to escape the liberal land of make-believe, I tune in to the Southside Unicorn, where the truth is as solid as New York City concrete. My name is Toot Sweet, and you're listening to my friend Ken White on the Southside Unicorn, and this party is just getting started.
Step 1, train the people only to consume. Step 2, infiltrate adults with the news. Step 3, indoctrinate the children through the schools and the music and the apps on the phones that they use. Step 4, separate the right from the left. Step 5, separate the white from the black. Step 6, separate the rich from the poor. Use religion and equality to separate them more. Step 7, fabricate a problem, made a lie. Step 8, put it on the news every night. Step 9, when people start to fight and divide, take control. This is called situational design.
You are listening to the Southside Unicorn Show, hosted by my friend, Ken White. He'll be back after these messages.
You were warned. You were told. You were begged not to wake up Gen X. Well, congratulations. We're awake now.
Hey, it's your boy Ken White, host of the Southside Unicorn Show, and we are back for the third segment. My goodness, this is going so fast because there's so much to talk about. Hoori is extremely excited, and who wouldn't be extremely excited? Here this is the last day of Black History Month, and I can imagine that on Juneteenth, there was a lot of excited people running around, and they were dancing too. So I can see the similarities. I can understand the energy. I want to brush on something we talked about during the break. This war, this as what did you call it, leader? What is this? It's not a war. What did you call it?
A takedown. It's a
And what did you
takedown.
call it, Hoori? You called it a what?
Rescue mission.
So it's a takedown and a rescue mission. And you talk about a knight with shining armor and a white horse. That would be Bibi Netanyahu and President Donald J. Trump, because they're doing something that other presidents did not do. And to be honest, I do see a lot of women celebrating this, a lot of very happy women. But there's a group of women that aren't so happy. That would be the women in the Democrat Party. I'm going to land right there and let you all take this one over. I mean, I am graced by three of the most beautiful women I've ever seen, and it's their turn. It's your go. I just want to talk about what you all think this means for women. I'm going to sit back and listen.
Well,
Anybody?
Evie, you're running for office. You just give us your point of view.
Well, I don't think that you can have a better revolution story than this. From what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is a nation that had women who were going to universities, who were doctors, who were lawyers, who were thinkers. And almost overnight, they were segregated down to you could only be a mother, and that's it. And some of them, not even that, because if they didn't fit the bill of what the Ayatollah thought a woman should be, they were executed, and executed without trial, just on the word of another individual. So coming from the US, that just blows my mind, because you talk about women and not being able to have true bodily autonomy, and we have all of these
What are they saying
protests.
here in America? My body, my choice. Isn't that what they say?
Exactly. And yet you have a country where truly these women did not have bodily autonomy, and yet there was total silence. I can't understand that. So yes, I am celebrating with these women, because finally they get a true choice. They truly get to have their own choice and think for themselves. So thank you, Donald J. Trump, for all that you've done for the women's movement. Thank you.
Amen.
And I thought they called him a womanizer, and he's supposed to be so bad and all of this. But all I've seen him doing lately is liberating women. And Lita, didn't we have a group, an organization here in America called the Suffragettes? Didn't we fight for
We
women's
sure
rights?
did. A lot of people don't realize the first state to give women the right to vote was Colorado, and it was the unsinkable Molly Brown that led that group. So, yeah.
And guess what they just did? They just legalized prostitution. That's
Oh
their
my
idea
God.
of, yep, Colorado was the first step that actually this past week legalized prostitution. And that's their idea of liberating women, I guess.
Well, you
Yeah,
couldn't have
yeah.
a greater contrast then. If you showed your ankles in one country, you get killed. But over here, everything is everything. But it still cuts along the lines of my body, my choice. Now, those of us who are believers, of course, we're going to have some opinion about, that Bedlam, that Sodom and Gomorrah type of attitude. And speaking of Sodom and Gomorrah, speaking of attitudes based on faith, there are those, Hoori, who would see you and recognize that you are an Iranian American, and instantly they would assume that you are Muslim. What's going on with you, Hoori?
Absolutely, yeah. In fact, when I was in a uniform in the army, and there was this Arab, whatever, another soldier who saw me eating during Ramadan, and I do understand Arabic. He didn't know that, but basically he was calling me infidel, and which is the word is murtad in Arabic, that I'm an infidel, because he assumed that I should be Muslim, and I wasn't really practicing anything at that point, But then I got saved 11 years ago. Praise God. From the yoke of Islam and all the false religions and all that. But yeah, I mean that's definitely a thing. And then because of that, the price that it had for me is that I have not been able to go back to Iran. So yes, exactly.
If I'm not mistaken, and that's why I want to keep the pace at a certain level, because I want to be able to get information and all this incredible stuff you all are sharing. You had a bounty on your life, didn't you?
Oh gosh, yes. Do we have to go there
$50,000,
today?
right? Let me just touch on it for a little bit, because what I want to touch on with E.B. Lynch, with Lita Amick, with Hoori Khandani, you all have courage. You have shown your courage in different ways, and two of you have worn the uniform of the United States of America. That would be E.B. Lynch and Hoori Khandani. That takes courage. I want to salute you, ladies, for that, because if we're going to go into it as a gender thing, there's some guys that couldn't handle what you all have handled. I wonder how well some men would do knowing there was a bounty on their life. I shouldn't speak on it too long, but I just wanted to highlight the courage that you're showing, expressing your viewpoints, which, ladies and gentlemen, that's what most of you should be doing too. Don't be just sitting on your couch waiting on E.B. Lynch to become the lieutenant governor. Don't be waiting on Lita Amick to make a move, or Hoori Khandani to open her mouth. You all have an obligation to stand up. Don't sit down like those clowns did at the State of the Union address. Stand up. It's that time. I just want to point this out real quick. I'm not going to kindred him to Moses. I know that I've heard people say that the children of Moses are repaying a favor, but yeah, Hoori, you see, I do my research. I'm not playing here. Uh, but if Trump and Bibi Netanyahu are likened to a Moses, the people still had an obligation. The people still had to get out there and do some work. These two giant men have opened up a fissure into tyranny. We need to go into it headlong. That's what I wanted to say about that. But now, expanding on the female idea of what's happening in Iran, Lita, what do you think this means for women in Iran? Do you think next week they're going to be like they were in 1978, back to wearing those really posh little skirts and all that? Do you think that's going to happen like overnight?
Well, I don't personally know, exactly where they're at socioeconomically. So that is a cultural thing that I guess is going to take its own level. But I did make a note here when Hoori brought up the prostitution. I go, the type of structure that Khomeini had was all patriarchal. And that, by making prostitution legal, it's the opposite, but the same result, patriarchal, which means there's no honor to women as God's creation. And any country that does that will not prosper. And
wow. You know what? I'm so glad the show is graced by the three of you all. The Southside Unicorn Show is really fortunate to have the guests that we have on. You're saying from extreme to extreme, from you'll get beat down if your ankles get shown, to everything is good to go prostitution. They are both the same. They're two horns on the same beast.
They're slaves.
Wow.
Absolutely. I'm actually a certified human trafficking victim advocate through the San Diego DA's office, which I did during my time in law school. So absolutely, it is today's slavery. I agree with you, and it is 99% of those victims have not made that choice to have that lifestyle.
That's right.
Their average survival is 7%. So absolutely.
Here we go. All three of you hail from California, so I got to insert this in here real quick. It appears that 2 or 3 days ago, an absolute horrific human being who did horrific things to children, who should have spent the rest of his natural breathing air, eating food life behind bars, my man Gavin Newsom signed a law that saw this man be released from prison. Now, the three of you, I want you to expand on that for a minute when you consider child sex trafficking, and it appears to me that the Democrat Party is okey doke with this. Ladies?
Well, I'm like you. Like you said, I'm like you. I have a low, SAT and, all the other garbage that he's spewed out. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
All I was going to say is he's been rearrested on another charge.
Already. Whoa, wait a minute. So Captain Scumberger, who got out, who should have never seen the light of day. They should have put shades on his cell, put him in a room with no windows. You're saying he's been rearrested?
Yes, on another charge that I guess they found, but he wasn't prosecuted on the first time.
Oh, so, goody. Okay, I'm happy about that.
No, he's not on the street anymore. But I will say this, and that behavior is such a soul stealing action. It is so satanic that and you know me, Kenny. I'm from South Dakota originally. We just handle stuff. And so
I want to capitalize on that. Stop right there. Stop right there. She said we don't get all off into the weeds with all this, going to court and we just handle stuff. Well, I feel the same way when it comes to people who put their hands on children. If you're so low down that you putting your hands on children, hey, we're supposed to throw the kitchen sink at you and then run you over with a truck. Yes, I said it. So
okay.
if they want to, edit this show, y'all gonna do it because I'm still gonna say it again. I would like to see everybody, leader, handle some stuff. You pedophiles, instead of, like what is this? The Prince of England? This cat. You know what I'm saying? And all they did was what? They put him on house arrest. Anybody know what happened to him? He's on house arrest, right?
He's not suicidal. I'm sure about that.
Oh, well, maybe not.
He didn't kill himself.
He might unalive himself. You never, and mysteriously with 20 people watching, he might just go ahead and do something like that. But yeah, this event in Iran, nobody saw it coming. And when I say nobody saw it coming, let me preface it this way. As Hoori was talking about the gentleman who was upset about Ramadan, this is the season of Ramadan, and tomorrow is a day called Purim for the Jewish community. That's a lot of stuff going on at one time. Purim is a very important day for the Jewish people. Hoori, are you able to expand? I could. Based on what I do for a living, I could expand on that, but I'm going to give you the honor. What is the significance of this Ramadan Purim thing and the attack on Iran as of last night?
Well, I would like to claim that as part of my ancestry because it is about Queen Esther of Persia, even though she was a Jewish slave, but she was married to the king in Iran and in the Persian Empire, and she managed to basically liberate the Jews. And I'm sure you've seen on my comments on my page that it is basically ironic, so prophetic that on such a day, the children of Moses are making it up basically to the children of Cyrus the Great, whose children freed the Jews and who supported the Jews, freed the Jews, as we see in Isaiah 45. But that is happening. So as I think it's just so biblical that the history has come full circle, basically.
It really has. And to all the ladies assembled, you all are so beautiful, so smart, so courageous. But I tack back to Hoori, and now I'm getting all wax Wayne nostalgic. I'm imagining a king 4,000, 3,000 years ago, and a woman such as yourself walked into the king's throne room, and yeah, you could make him change his mind. I can see where he would change his mind. The beauty and the intelligence, the strength. Her name was Esther, right?
Correct.
And this guy named Haman, boy, this story. Haman had it in for the Jewish people, and he wanted to do them in. But little did he know, the woman that held the king's heart in her hand was indeed Jewish. I think there's a lesson for the Democrat Party in there. They want to do America in. They want to do harm to God's children. Can't you see what's happening? Don't you see what's happening? I think you all are on the wrong side of history, and I'm pretty sure history is going to bear me out to be correct on that. We got one last segment, so nobody go anywhere. We may as well ride this out. We got one segment left. So when we come back, it's going to be a free-for-all. We're going to talk about some stuff, and whatever's on your mind, let's get it out there to the audience. We'll be right back after these messages. Go nowhere.
When I see a new broadcast from the Southside Unicorn, I can't wait to listen to it. You just never know what he's going to say.
You are listening to the Southside Unicorn Show, hosted by my friend, Ken White. He'll be back after these messages.
Hey, it's your boy Ken White, host of the Southside Unicorn Show, and we are back for the final and last segment. Man, it went fast. I'm sad because I know that means in a few minutes we're all going to be gone. But while I still have these beautiful, intelligent, courageous women before me and before you all, my esteemed audience, so smart, my audience, we're just going to start talking about some things. One of the things we're going to talk about is, and Evie's going to be able to edify us on this. Evie, is March 6th the beginning of the midterms? Is that when the start of pistol pops?
So June 2nd is when we vote. We're right now in the thick of it for the primaries. So a lot of people who are, on the Democrat side and the Republican side are vying for their party's endorsement. And it's interesting because, this is really my first time in this type of arena. And I realize that a lot of what we do really doesn't involve the everyday people as much as it should. And I would love to be able to bring some change to the way we do politics, especially voting.
When you say especially voting, that brings me to pardon me, ladies and gentlemen, that brings me to this thing called the SAVE Act. How do you feel about the SAVE Act?
Oh, most definitely we need it. We need it because there is so much corruption in politics, and we need to clean it up. I honestly 100% believe that some of the people who got voted in office, because I talk to people and they're like, well, I didn't vote for them, but so how did they get voted in? There's so much corruption, as we saw just last year with Minnesota. And we know that they're all connected. I don't know how a governor could not know that much corruption was going on.
Are you talking about Tim Walz? Tim Walz should be put under the jail. There is no cotton picking way, as my grandfather would say. There's no cotton picking way. That man didn't know about that. He's either the most inept and derelict governor in history, or he was duplicit. That's just the way that goes. There's no middle ground on that one. Corruption. Oh, hey, guess what? Hoori, where you at? Are you there, Hoori?
Yes,
see
sir.
See the gentleman that just showed up? His name is Jay.
Hey, Jay.
Jay is a Jewish, a member of the Jewish community, and
awesome.
he was just
my ancient cousin.
Your ancient cousin, exactly. And Jay, this is Hoori KHANDANI. She is an Iranian American, American veteran, but she is absolutely celebrating what's going on in Iran. And I know you're late to the party, brother, but I'm going to ask you your opinion on Iran very briefly. Are you thumbs up or thumbs down on what's happening in Iran right now? You got to unmute yourself.
Yeah.
You got to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I know. I was going to use the keyboard. In a way, I'm happy. I'm glad that they've taken a move, but in another way, I'm not happy. I'm not really satisfied with the way it's been approached. It's there's legal things on our end here in the U.S. that have been bypassed for sending our personnel, getting our personnel involved. And unfortunately, it would be if they didn't get involved, it would be leaving Israel to take care of it by themselves. So it's a half a dozen of one.
It's a bittersweet situation, huh?
Yeah, terrible.
Well,
terrible.
I look at it this way, and this is where I'm at with that. The only analogy I can use is this one. When I was a child, a young kid younger than me got trapped under a yellow. I'm reliving it as I share this with you all. A child got stuck under a yellow Volkswagen Bug and up against the curb. Okay, and the car was not occupied. People tried to move the car, but they could not move it. But the mother of that child saw her baby pinned between that car and that curb. She hiked up her skirt, and that means all her business was for the world to see. Do you think she cared? She hiked up her skirt, wrapped it around her waist area so she could get a good grip underneath that car, and she lifted the car so these men could drag her baby out from underneath that car. And all her business was out there. And what I'm saying by that one, Jay, is this: When Bibi Netanyahu fired the first shot, we had no choice but to go in. And as you can see from the State of the Nation address, we're so divided that the Democrats would have probably caused this to be a failure because they would not have agreed with it. And sometimes it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission.
Yeah, yeah, it's I mean, and I've got my own personal views of what should have been done 10 years ago. And then if they had done it 10 years ago, we wouldn't have had to worry about it now.
Talking about that Obama and all that stuff and kicking that can down the road. We just talked about kicking the can down the road.
Yeah.
Now, real quick, Jay, I want to enthrall the audience and these beautiful ladies that we have here with us today. You know how colloquialisms come around and there's these old sayings, and in World War II, they would say something like, "We gave them the whole 9 yards." Well, we all used to wonder, where in the world does that come from? Whole 9 yards. Well, the bullets, the rounds that were encased in the machine guns were in a cloth casing. When you put those bullets in that casing and stretched it out, that casing was 9 yards long. That means
9 yard
you
casing.
emptied the entire clip, the casings into into that matter, and it's like they gave them the whole 9 yards. Well, Jay,
Yeah.
you have a colloquialism which I would like for you to share with the people, because I always wonder where that one came from. It's called, the whole Megillah. Where does Megillah come from, Jay?
The term Megillah comes from the Jewish holiday of Purim, which we're going to celebrate tomorrow, and it's celebrating the Queen Esther acting to save the Jewish community.
He's breaking up. I was really hoping for us to hear that story. I may have to carry it off because we're running out of time. He's saying that there's a Torah called the Megillah, and that you have to read it from beginning to end. And so when you're doing the story of Esther, it's called giving it the whole Megillah. Who came or who
Okay.
left? Evie's back. Okay. And am I right, Jay? You cut out, and so we're running out of time. I wanted to make sure everybody got that
Something
story.
something happened. It dropped out. I lost my connection for some reason. Um, the story of Purim is in a book called the Megillah, and it's read from the beginning to the end. And so we say we have to read the story from the whole Megillah or the Ganze Megillah. And when you talk about doing a project from start to finish, you've got to do the whole Megillah to get it done.
And that's where
So
that colloquialism came from. I've
that's
always
where they
wondered, where
came.
does the whole Megillah come from?
Yeah.
So watch this. We're going to go round circle. Hoori's going to get the last word. Ebi, do you have any parting words? What's your next event? How do people help you with your campaign if they are so inclined?
Well, they can go on to my website at www.ebilynchforcal California.com. So eblynch4california.com.
What's your next upcoming event that people can participate in?
I top of my head, but it is listed on my website. So the biggest thing is
Breaking up too. Okay, everybody's breaking up in the last few minutes. Go figure. Lita, what you got to say? And thank you for coming
Well,
on, Lita. I miss you.
I miss you too. You know what I love about the story of the Book of Esther? I love that it's just exactly what we say all the time, and it's why Trump is where he's at, is that God does not call the qualified, he qualifies the called. He qualified her. She followed his direction, and little did Haman know, but he was building his own gallows. And that's what we're going to let the Democrat Party do. Let them speak is a great tactic.
Oh my goodness. So Hoori, we invited you onto the show because again, and you'll see that clip, it probably started at the beginning of the show and it'll end the show. But Hoori was wrapped in emotion when she learned that Israel and America had begun attacks on Iran. So you're gonna kind of land us here, Hoori. What say you? What do you have to say?
I'm gonna actually use the opportunity to use another analogy. I remember growing up, there was a story of this guy or this crowd in a boat, and there's one guy poking a hole, drilling a hole in that boat. And the analogy, the fable, whatever it was that you can't just say, and then the other people were saying, well, that's just his area. It's his part. It doesn't affect us. And it does. It's gonna make, obviously, it's gonna sink the boat. And I think I want to correct that using that analogy. A lot of the noise, especially on the conservative side, they're saying, "Oh, it wasn't our business." And trust me, I'm the most. I get the whole libertarian ideas and all that stuff, and I completely agree with that. But this wasn't just a support to Iranian people. That wasn't our business. This regime has cost us man, it's cost us money, it's caused so much damage and havoc in the US, for the US, for our national security. As a military member who was an intel, I know too much to be able to share that how much of the stuff that we had to deal with was caused by them. So you can't just say, oh, that's their business while we're getting involved. This is not US getting involved in Iran's business. This is U.S. national security and their protection, and really efficiency of not having to
Right.
continue this
So,
on for so many other
right.
years.
I don't want to derail what you're saying, but I do want to interject this in here. There are a lot of civilian Americans who only digest the information given to them by the mainstream media. Pardon me. And you're being fed pablum. You're being fed lies because with people like Hoori, who is from the intelligence community, if you only knew some of the things that Iran has been doing, you'd be like, why didn't we do, like my brother Jay said, why didn't we do this 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago? Because remember, they've been in power for over 40 years and they have been doing some of the most atrocious things around the world that your little ears might not be ready to hear. But who, you know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, the Iranian power structure is a dirty dog, and it's about that time. So now, in wrapping up, because we're down to about a minute, I want to ask everybody their opinion of. And Lita, I'm gonna start with you. Is this a 100 days war as Israel enjoyed back in 1967? Is this about to be Vietnam? Is this another Afghanistan? What do you see?
Well, it's certainly not another Afghanistan, and it's not another Vietnam. Like I said, it was a takedown. It was take down the cause, and that's not the same as a war. It's an operation. And they went in, they surgically took care of the problem. Like Trump said, that's going to be now in the hands of the Iranian people. And as Hoori said, if they're 80% of those people are against that regime, then I think they've got a pretty good chance of thriving and being neighborly with the rest of the world.
Say I can plan in about 5 years to go sit on the beaches of Iran.
Let's go this summer.
Let's go.
Hey.
Let's do it. Let's get our swerve on. So, Jay, what do you see? What's your prognostication of this conflict?
It's going to be ugly before it gets done. It's going to. I think it's going to be very ugly and very bloody, on all sides, because if they don't get it taken care of this time correctly, they're never going to get it done. They'll be back they'll come back in 5 years and start all over again.
Are you saying that in order for this to be effective and produce results, it has to be full annihilation?
Wipe the blackboard clean.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Wipe the blackboard clean. Start all over
Mhm.
again.
So, Huri, here you go. You get the last words because we're about to come up out of this show.
I agree with all the folks here, but what I will add is that even the 20% remaining, Lida, are the people who depend on this regime. So when the regime is gone, they have no other choice. The supply is going to be cut. But I don't know if you got to read the very last tweet of the president on this issue, was that as he had called the IRGC members and the military and the police officers and all the security forces, he had called them, the crown prince had called them to drop their arms. And there seems to be a report, and according to the president, he knows more than I do, I'm sure, that there actually has been effective, and a lot of the police and the military, and that's the reason we are not seeing any more killings on the street right now, because they're all either freaking out, hiding somewhere, before they get targeted, or they're turning to people, because when the Ayatollah is not there, they're now free to do what they would want to do without depending on this regime. So, so my take on that is that it's not going to be a long thing. We have cooperation with the people of Iran. They want it more than anyone. They're ready. They were already on the street. I'm sorry. This is what they started. We can't take a credit for that, right? We'll just help them. We'll just basically we're the support to their movement. So I don't believe it's going to take that long. And to say that, Jay, I don't believe Donald Trump is going to let this drag on or be a repeat thing. He's a man of his word and he's a man of action. He's a businessman. He goes in and takes care of the business and gets out. So
and you can't drop your guard. You can't drop your guard just because they get it taken. They think they got it taken care of. There's still going to be some snake in the grass somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's going to try and pull something to start something all over again.
Yeah.
Correct.
And one point I would like to make, though, Iran is not generations from where they were. They're less than one generation away. So that culture is still alive.
It's still there. The grandmas and all that, grandpa and grandmas are still there from the Shah.
To remember, absolutely.
Exactly. So I would like to revisit this again, Hoori. Hopefully you'll come back on the show because you mentioned in the Shah's son, and I see a coronation. Are the Iranian people opposed to royalty returning, do you think?
That's the name they're calling on the street. 30,000+ people got shot for screaming his name on the street. So who am I, somebody in the diaspora, sitting outside and telling them who to choose? So I do trust the people of Iran. They know what they want.
They want the Shah of Iran's son.
He's by no means perfect, but he's someone he's even said it himself. I'm just a unifying factor. He just wants to be that unifying factor.
Let me wrap us up here because we've run out of time. But what I'm seeing is symphony agreement. I'm seeing spiritual movement here. I'm seeing the return of the king. The return of the king. That has a lot of connotations in there, and especially if the Shah of Iran's son sits on the throne. Will you guys change the name? Will you call it Persia, do you think, or are you going to let it remain Iran?
Iran is fine as long as it's led by the right person, as long as they don't have the Ayatollahs, the Arab occupied. If it's not Arab occupied, we call it Iran.
Is that a little Trump doll I see on your desk over there, Hoori?
That sure is.
Oh my goodness. Oh wow.
Oh, here's mine.
Everybody's got, I can tell you this right now. Jay ain't got no Trump doll. Okay. That's my man. That's my brother. I love him. But Jay ain't got no Trump doll. Okay. If y'all know what I'm trying to tell you, Jay ain't got no Trump doll. And come to think of it, I don't either, but I'm cool with Trump. He's all right. We've come to that moment in the show where we got to just get on up out of here. So stand by for a second, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, listen to me. There's no place I'd rather be. There's nothing more I'd rather do than being right here doing this show for you. I'm Ken White, host of the Southside Unicorn Show with Alita Amick, with Hoori KHANDANI, because she's got one of those royal names. You got to get it in there right. I should say Princess Hoori KHANDANI, and my brother Jay Donafield. And we are out.
Good night.
Good night.
Go nowhere.